Hello boys and girls, we're going to be making a project called Marigolds in Terracotta Pot, or Marigold for short. So what you're going to need is one white sheet of paper and red and yellow tempera paint, liquid, not the cakes that we've been using. And then you're going to need a sponge. Now this is called a makeup sponge, alright? But we don't need that quite yet. But another thing that you're going to need is a oil pastel stick, okay? So we have our oil pastel. So what we're going to do first to make our marigold in a terracotta pot is first you're going to need to put 6 dots on your paper. What I like to do is do 2 at a time, make it kind of match along with that. I'm going to move this to the side so it's not in my way so I don't actually get paint on me. Now what I'm going to do around each of these dots is make a wiggly line. I'm not going to make a zigzag line because I don't want these marigolds to look like pufferfish, which are spiky. I'm just going to use kind of like a bumpy kind of line. Remember our elephant, how we went over all those different types of lines? Well, we're going to use our bumpy lines, okay? And you're going to kind of make it look like a cookie. But it's really a flower, so make it bumpy like a flower, but at the same time make it bumpy like a cookie flower. So I'm using my bumpy line, using my black chalk pastel. Now your hands are going to get a bit messy with this. That's okay. As artists, we love it kind of messy, but we're still keeping our area clean. We can be messy, we can get messy on ourselves, but we can't get our area completely messy. Alright, so there are my marigolds. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your sponge and you're going to lightly dab a little bit of red on your sponge. And you're going to dab all over your flower, okay? Now, we're going to be mixing our paint a bit on here, but we're not going to mix our paint here, okay? So I'm going to dab using my brush into the yellow, and I'm going to dab some yellow in here. Now you are going to get paint on accident on your fingers, because these sponges are kind of flimsy. They're kind of soft. Alright, and you're going to fill in that marigold, okay? So already, see how my fingers are kind of messy and kind of messy? Alright, so I'm kind of mixing up my paint there. So again, I'm going to each of my marigolds, lightly dabbing my flowers. I'm mixing yellow and red together. Now, we went over this at the beginning of the year, but what color does red and yellow make? Orange. If you said orange, way to go. Way to be paying attention. Way to know your colors. We're making orange. Now, what I like to do while there's still paint in my sponge is I go and do 2 flowers at a time, so I'm not getting a whole lot of paint, okay? Now, if your flowers are looking more red than orange, what you can do is just get a bit more yellow, okay? Get a bit more yellow onto your flowers. Now, in order to make this last one not so reddish, I'm going to dab it mostly with yellow. Alright, and I'm finished making my marigolds, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the drying rack and I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not going to mess with it, okay?